afternoon, Bina. How are you?
Good afternoon, Julie. I'm good. It's Friday. The sun is not out there, but it's still Friday.
Oh, it's such a horrible day. But I've got you. You weren't here last week, so I've got you today.
I know. I'm so sorry I left you. It just, I think I told you I had jabs, flu jabs and pneumonia jabs, and I wasn't expecting those. And the nurse got me, and once she got me, she wouldn't let me go. And I was suffering for about 2 days. It was just horrible. So
well,
anyway,
health comes first. So it's great to have you back anyway, because
thank you.
I decided to leave the new furlough scheme to you to explain, which I'm sure a lot of people had fun at last week. So I was thinking 33%, 492, no, capping. No, I'm going to get Bina to explain this. So today on HR Bullets, it's the 2nd of October. Oh my God, it's October already. Yeah. We're going to be talking about the job support scheme, the new furlough, what should we call it, job retention bonus, self-employment income. We're going to the support scheme. We're going to touch on that, aren't we, Bina?
Yeah.
And a bit about the bounce back loans,
yeah,
quickly, and definitely the youngsters out there and the Kickstart scheme, because that's literally changing, isn't it, week by week, but there's definitely some more opportunities now. So let's start with the job support scheme, the new 33%. Come on, Bina, give it to us very clearly.
Right, okay, so as you know, that the flexible furlough comes to an end of this month. Yeah,
we do.
And at one point we thought, well, there's nothing going to be after that, but no, the government stepped in. And obviously, because of the 6 months extension now with everything going on, they've said that, right, okay, we are going to now be able to give some support to employees and to the employers, but it's not going to be it would be so easy, wouldn't it, to be exactly the same as it was similar to the one that we had before. So this time we're looking at thirds, 1/3 and 2/3. And so what it means is that as long as somebody has worked at least 1/3 of their normal hours, then the government and the employer will make up their pay as 2/3. So the 2/3 was actually about 77%. So that's the figure that's been kind of quoted. So where we had in the old scheme, which is the current scheme now, up to end of this month, 80% of somebody's wages would be made up in whatever proportion between the government and the employer. Instead, it's going to be 77%, but it's actually been counted in thirds. Okay, so the 2/3 would be paid up by the government and the employer. That's all we need to know. If you're an employer, then obviously you need to understand how it works, and of course as a payroll person, but your accountant would be able to tell you that, your payroll person would be able to tell you that. The government website, the HMRC, made it very clear as to how that 77% would be made up to pay the employee, so the employee doesn't actually suffer. The conditions are that the employee should have been employed, so they should be employed now. Okay, and so as long as they've been employed, and they are going to carry on being employed until end of January, okay, then they will get this amount. And this is again going for 6 months, and it's basically saying we will pay that money. Now the cap is, there is a cap. It always is.
It's always a cap.
It's not a very high cap, actually. It's only 697 and 92p per month, as long as, and that's how much the government will pay every month. So that's the cap. So I think that's fairly straightforward as far as the salary is concerned. I think the employment bit is really something that people must think about, that, if somebody was on a redundancy notice, they won't get it because they're being made redundant.
Sure. Yeah.
This is all about people who are going to be still in the business.
Yes.
31st of January.
Yeah.
And so for this period, for the next 4 months, they will then be looked after until end of January, and I'm sorry, not end of January, for 6 months, starting from November. So they will get until end of March.
That's when it starts.
Yeah.
There is another rule, isn't there, that they have to work a third of their time.
That is, because if you think about it, you know, most of the employers have had people on flexible furlough, yeah?
Yes.
But the flexible furlough was actually left to the individual and, well, up to the employer to decide how many hours they would be able to offer them to work. So some people might not even have had, you know, 1/3 of their normal hours. They might just have had a few hours or nothing. Because again, what the government is trying to do is get people back into work of some sort. And so the condition is that they should have at least, or they must work at least 1/3 of their hours to be eligible. And so that means that the employer has to make sure that they are, and then people are actually getting back into work, yeah? And then, you know, they would be getting payment, but the payment is made up between the government and the employer, yeah?
Yeah, for the 2/3 on top of the third that they have to work to be eligible for it.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm very clear now. I knew that before today, but wasn't that clear last week when it had come out for a day. But I think it feels like it's just all reversed, isn't it? It's actually trying to not force because it's needed, but rather than just hand out the money from the government, get the people back into work, whether it's remotely.
It's almost like a phased return. If you think about it, you know, we use the word phased return for when somebody's been off sick or somebody's been away for a long time on maternity or whatever, or sometimes, you know, and then you say that we would like to get people back in work on a phased return. So bit by bit, they're back again on full time. And so this is literally the next step up from, if you remember, we started off with furlough with no work. Everybody went on furlough. Then the next step was we'll do flexible furlough so people can come back and do some work. Now this is the further third step, if you like, towards getting back to 100%. Yeah,
it makes sense. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
At least the government are not just leaving everybody high and dry.
No, and also it gives the incentive to both the employer and the employee to kind of work towards it and say, right, okay, we've got 6 months to sort ourselves out. Let's do it. Yeah. The other thing that really this will do is that the employer, if you remember the bonus scheme, and you know the £1,000 that the employer would get for as long as they've had people in employment now and in November and all the way through end of January, then they will still qualify for that £1,000 for every single person who's still employed. Yeah. So again, it really works. And I think it's all about getting people back at work and making sure that the employers feel that that is also working in their favor as well. Yeah. So that's that. So shall we talk about self-employed?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the self-employment income support scheme, because there are self-employment out there that missed out a lot at the beginning, didn't they? So looking after them. Yeah,
so the self-employed have already been given 2 lots of payments.
Yes.
And so this one, it's actually going to bring the third payment between November and January. So it'll be the third payment of, you know, the self-employed income support scheme, and then the fourth payment will be paid between February and April. And I think the cap is £1,875 of, you know, the profit. I think is based on monthly profits. Yeah. So I mean, there's a whole lot of qualifications and entitlements and conditions and so on for the self-employment who, you know, and the self-employed who can claim any of these grants. The support, again, you know, it's all on the government website. But again, if people are still struggling to understand, there's you, there's me, there's a whole lot of the people out there, the chamber, a number of organizations who will be able to explain what it all means. And, you know, talk to your accountant, talk to your payroll person, but accountants should know how that works and how that would fit in with your whatever your profits are, what your business is. So I would suggest, people, it's worthwhile looking
Yeah.
into it.
We
Then,
just wanted to highlight that, didn't we? Because
yeah.
it's good to know it's out there.
Yeah, because we know a number of businesses where they're not limited companies, they're self-employed people.
Yeah.
So we're kind of looking at everybody in kind of total here. Then we got the bounce back loans, or the pay as you grow loans now. And again, that is a really good scheme for people to be able to borrow money and then not have to pay for a while, the interest, or pay back now. Obviously, the pay as you grow is talking about even up to 10 years of loan payment. So again, I think the government is doing all it can to get everybody off the doldrums, as it were, and giving us something, towards life, so the bounce back loans, and again, it doesn't strictly come under HR or anything, but it just felt right to be included on there. And then obviously there's a whole lot of other loans and schemes and tax reliefs and so on and so forth. Again, go onto the website, government website, but if you can't, and if you don't know what to do or you don't understand, talk to your accountants, and if you can't talk to them, talk to us, and we'll find somebody who can explain to you.
I think there's so many rules around this, isn't there?
Yeah.
And depending on your profit, it's this percent you'll get if you're this, and turnover. So it's just about, we can't tell everybody exactly what it is. It's just about, it's there, you need to ask.
Yeah.
And it will help businesses survive, that's for sure, next year.
Yeah, we're just highlighting kind of headlines so that people understand that all these things are there, available out there for them. And I think we will talk about the Kickstart.
Oh, we need to talk about the Kickstart and help these youngsters. We definitely do. First, we could take them on. Then you had to take 30 people at a time. Now there's opportunities to take them on again if you're a smaller business. So we definitely need to talk about that for our clients.
Yes.
And
for us as well. Right. Yeah. So until recently, the Kickstart scheme was literally meant for anybody who wanted to take on 30 youngsters or more. It didn't really work out for small and medium-sized businesses. It was for, the big boys who could take on 30 people at a time or more. And so the government then kind of stepped in, and I think and it made it easier that you could go under certain umbrella bodies who would then work as your coordinator or as an umbrella organization through which you then can, take on as many as you want or as little, because most of the SMEs would probably be looking at one or two that they could take on youngsters for 6 months for free. Under the Kickstart scheme, 18 to 24-year-olds. And it actually, the scheme covers all kinds of industries. It's not just kind of, you think, well, youngsters, so you think, oh, well, what would they do, or what would they be qualified in, or what would they be, able to do. But the fact is that, as far as I can see, it could be any industry, it could be sales, marketing, it could be IT, it could be, any of those businesses around. And so for us, I think it was just a case of saying, well, if you would like to have somebody for 6 months for free, because the government is going to pay for it, go for it. And we've got a number of organizations like the Chamber, Wenta, we've got Noah now in Luton, who were talking about actually becoming one of these organizations who would then have Kickstart through them and youngsters. Now, I think we talked about it before, that and the beauty of it is not just about one kind of industry, or you might think, oh well, it might be just very junior kind of roles, or very kind of basic jobs that these youngsters could help, maybe warehousing or admin or something very general kind of thing. No. Because if you think about how many youngsters between the age of 18 and 24 have all come outside, come off unis, and they might have done A-levels, they might have done some kind of apprenticeship schemes, and they've got no job. and they probably are cleverer than you and me put together, and a whole lot of us in a whole lot of industries, and skills.
Definitely have more patience with IT after the week I've had this week. So yeah, it's just worth having him for that, really. Do you know how to do this?
Exactly. And so I think that it's worth really tapping into that.
And it is about any kind of area of a business, like you said, any area of a business.
Any. And in fact, I was just talking to one of my clients yesterday, and he said, yeah, he's definitely going to have a look into it, for sure.
It's just because smaller businesses
and it's sales.
Can do this.
They do sales, and he said, no, he's going to have a look and see what comes out of it, and it's lead generation and kind of stuff like that. So,
it could literally change somebody's life, couldn't it? Just having 6 months, it could change your life as an employer if you've got that right time and support, and it can change someone's life. That experience is going to be amazing. So, yeah.
And so we come to recruitment.
I've got nothing to say about recruitment. Nothing at all.
Well, we will. I mean, we will be. I think we are going to do recruitment next Friday, aren't we?
We're going to do recruitment, and we're going to definitely home in more on CVs and helping people. Definitely,
right, we will do that.
We lapsed it, didn't we, last week? But no, joking aside,
that's my fault.
Yeah, don't worry about that, Bina. I just missed you. I'm just glad you're back. So yeah, in terms of recruitment, all I've got to say is keep positive, keep applying, keep following up. There are opportunities out there. It's coming back, but it's that double dip. I mentioned this last week. Everybody thought it would be straight down, nothing happening, straight back up. Now, and then there was an in-between, trundled along and back up. And now it's definitely a double dip. So here we go again. We've got another 6 months that people really can't be in an office if they can work from home or remotely. But that's not going to stop us. I think good recruiters will grab hold of it, do what they can. There's so many different ways of helping clients now in terms of the recruitment process, and if you're a good recruiter, you will grab that. And
a lot of my clients are recruiting now. And I know of other people around me who are recruiting. So it's kind of, I think it's like anything else. We've been in recessions before, and people were recruiting in recessions. I remember that, and I remember about how over the period of time when there are bad times, but still people are still looking at how they can expand, or there's always movement where somebody leaves for whatever reason, and the business still needs that place, that skill. So yeah.
I did talk about the two-tier labour market at the moment, because I think clients think there's all these candidates out there, and surely you can find me somebody. But actually, there is lots and lots of candidates out there. But we were talking about the fact that a lot of sort of kind of lower level, maybe admin, warehouse people, there are lots out there, that can just kind of really get jobs direct. But the more highly skilled people, specifically maybe accountants or HR, salespeople from a technical point of view and skills and experience, they're kind of a little bit more sought after. So those still going to take quite a lot of time for a good recruiter to find the right people from skills, experience and culture fit. So there are a lot of candidates out there. Recruitment is happening. I am recruiting, but it's just not how it was, and it's not going to be how it was. But we've got to make sure our service and our experience shines out. Look after our clients, and like you do as well, Bina.
Okay, of course. But I think one thing that I will say about CVs is that, again, friends looking for a job, and she was being advised by an outplacement company.
Yeah.
They were saying exactly the same things as you and I have been saying. Look, your CV must have the keywords that job has, so that the two match. And your CV will come up a lot easier and better if one of those things is part of your CV. That make sure that your keywords are coming up as the ones that are being shown in the job ad as well. Yeah.
And just before we go, because I always like to leave it with a big tip, is really, I think a lot of people don't know how to sell themselves unless you're a salesperson,
Exactly.
which I'm not a salesperson, I'm a consultant. Even though
I'm
people
not.
think all recruitment are salespeople, I am not, is about being able to sell yourself. So think about, if you're looking for a job at the minute, think about your key achievements in each job. And that is the biggest thing I'd like to emphasize today. Get that on your CV, either in a key achievement section at the top or under each job, because
Exactly.
both work. I was talking to a lady last week I was giving her some career coaching to, and I said, what are your achievements? And she was like, oh, I don't know. And I could think of three straight away after speaking to her. And I say, well, you've been at one company for 10 years, so, and you've been promoted 3 times. Would you say that's an achievement? Well, yeah, I would.
Yeah, because people just don't want to sell themselves. They don't know how to.
And she worked on sort of contracts. She supported sales directors, and they did so many a day. You know, what was your accuracy about getting it out the door? Once you got into the job, did you increase the productivity? Yeah. Yes, I did this, and this. So it's just really about thinking about your achievements and pulling them out. But yeah, if you're looking for a job, sell yourself. Nobody else will. Or ask me, I'll tell you how to sell yourself. I find lots of good in people. Or Bina, I'm sure she can obviously do lots more than I can in terms of
no, we're both the same.
CV. But yes, yeah, both of us can help you pull out your strengths, can't we, Bina?
Yeah, definitely. And
care, that's the big thing. We
exactly.
Care,
yeah. And on that note, we're gonna say have a lovely week. And next week we talk about recruitment. And if anybody's got any questions, as always, we're here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend. Bye, Bina. Lovely to see you. Bye.